go, bub. Rookie.
I didn't get to really play it out in game, but
Sophie made a connection with um, the vice president of a biker gang recently, and she was going to entrance him. Oh, because he said that this biker, he said that his gang moves between Ashland and Portland.
Oh, okay.
And so I thought, oh, I could have them go up there and start these fires.
Yeah, right.
We forgot about our biker.
Our biker that
Our fallen
Daenerys
angel
is. Oh, him. Oh, that's right. He is in the gang that Damaris kind of ghouled or whatever.
Right.
So, as we're, I guess, recapping from Ashland, infos and stories, both Brittany and I made a mad dash back from the Ren Fair to make it here, which is why we started 5 minutes late, but it was only 5 minutes late.
Kind of impressive, actually.
Oh,
kudos
your
to
mic.
our friends. You can hear me, so that means they can hear me, because what I did is I muted my mic, not the stream recording.
There you go.
Gotcha.
All right.
So that way, I knew if you couldn't hear me, no one else would be able to hear me. So I'd have to press that stupid button and make sure it went through. So
I took a reroll for myself.
okay. You might want
that confident, huh?
Yeah, you might want to eat some of those up as quickly as you can, because I'm thinking I'm going to get to a point where you cannot redeem points for yourself.
All right, we can work together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care if you contraband it between one another or whatnot, but so at any rate.
I imagine there might be a roll I want to re-roll tonight at some point while you're going over what happened in the downtime. So
right,
I'll be right back.
Sure, no problem.
I still have one from Davy Jones, but I want to. Okay, I'm being positive tonight.
There you go.
I should get some dice.
So as the brief little snippet on the stream indicates, we have had a 1 month time lapse from the events of last game. The war in
Argentina.
My brain was like, Portland.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no.
And this is not hugging Jesus, right?
This is right. That is correct. Nor is it Latveria.
Okay.
So, I still think we need to make an alternate universe in the world according to Angler.
Oh, that'd be kind of scary.
So, at any rate, everybody has had a chance to turn in something or talk to me on the side, letting me know what it is that that you wanted to do during this time frame. What we're going to do is a little bit of housekeeping ahead of time for everybody before we go in character. And I'll let you guys, role play from there. But I will state, based on what everybody turned in for downtimes, most of you have not seen one another for that month period.
Oh. Okay.
Either large blocks of, like a week to 2 weeks, or perhaps the entire the entire time. So there, it's clear that the events were tasking on your minds, and while some of you were around, not pretty much everybody kind of went and vanished for a bit to collect themselves, do some things, probably have some alone time, or to lose themselves in their own works. So Dale, I'll start with you. I haven't had a chance to obviously reply to anybody because of how hectic work and everything has been. We'll do that here.
Sure.
There you are. Okay. I got a 16-point guide on what he wanted to do, so by far it was the largest.
Yeah.
We discussed this earlier, and I mean, if he doesn't sleep, I think that checks out.
No, yeah, that's fine. So you are able to obviously take the time to get your body back to its original state, version 1.0. Oh, and after the events, I don't think I gave anybody any karma.
Right.
So you're definitely gonna want to do that, and any spends that you do right now, based off of banked karma and everything, that obviously would have taken place during this 1 month time span.
I have a question regarding that.
You would.
You may
It's okay. She's been
you
harassing me
may
all day
address-
at the Ren Fair, so.
I only smacked you on purpose like once.
Once.
Wow.
Only one smacking. That's good. Okay.
Yeah, she wore these wings, and as she was walking along, she because kind of it's a
They
tight
don't fit
fit
in
sometimes.
doorways very well.
Right.
There
okay.
weren't really doorways. We would just be looking at something, and she would just like start to turn, and I would get smacked in the face. So
Yeah.
I felt like Bill Pullman from Spaceballs, sitting in the seat, getting whacked by Barf's tail every
Yeah.
time he walked by him.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad, but it was funny. And it was a lot of fun. But so you were going to say, Brittany, I apologize.
So you're probably about to address this, but as I understand, the power field that we were exposed to
Mm-hmm.
at the school augmented our powers.
Some of you, yeah, that is correct.
Are you going to, like, do we have to spend XP for whatever the
Negative.
results were?
If something has happened to you by way of story, it is not something that you have to spend karma for.
Okay, so
But it also means you get the flaws with it too. So it's not always a given.
So, as far as changing our sheets to reflect whatever those changes were,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to talk about that?
So you're wanting me to jump from Hyperion to Lightbringer all of a sudden? So you get
No,
you get the deets?
Saying,
It's my turn to
I would
give
like
her a
to
little bit
address
back.
that.
But yes, that is obviously I can't obviously deal with Xenofreeze. He's not here. But yes, when we get
I will
to
hand the talking stick back.
yes, so when we get to you, that is definitely something that we will address.
Nice.
Because obviously you're going to want to bring that up when we go in character too. You know, with everybody else.
There you go.
So, so Dale, on point 1, you got your body back into shape and fixed as you would normally see fit.
Cool. Okay.
You did get a call placed to Ms. McCall. She's looking into that. She obviously it's not a story element we can go into just yet. It can come up later. But what she would have left you with is that she has a hunch, but she doesn't want to just share that and it potentially be like, bad gossip or something. And you would know, since she was a pretty effective, writer in her day, journalistic integrity. She's clearly wanting to prove some facts first before she, taps into that.
Okay. Got it.
You are wanting to have regular conversations with Mainframe. Done.
Yeah.
You do realize that he has made the note to alter all records of the Angler to read syntax error.
Okay.
At least
that
I'm
would have
not
come out.
syntax error anymore.
That would have come out in conversation.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
And this actually stemmed from the whole Mainframe needed clothing or whatever it was conversation many moons ago.
Right. Yeah.
You're
Okay.
going to make him wear pants or something silly. So yeah.
Okay. Got it.
You did create legacy comlink, so I'll let you deal with that in character.
Cool. Okay.
I'll let you deal with the cuffs. That's a bullet point you can take care of in character.
Cool.
Angler did not leave. I don't think Angler would have left his armor. I think Angler, correct me if I'm wrong here, Justin, but with you on your quest, you probably would have taken everything with you for protection. And okay. So that's probably the first telltale sign, Hyperion, you would have realized that he's thrown himself into something.
Sure.
Because that like, within the first couple of days of him not really responding and not being around, it becomes very evident that he's, tasked himself with something and he's taken his things and thrown himself into it.
Got it. Okay.
So his armor is not there. You have a alpha test so far of the anti-teleportation field for mainframe. He's still working the kinks out. So just letting you know that.
Got it. Okay.
Shelly, I don't think I got much from you. So you probably stayed, backing this up real quick. Shelly, you probably stayed in town and around the vein, correct?
Well, she lives there. She hasn't.
Okay. That's
really
fair.
found. Yeah.
So the only one you would have gotten to train with Hyperion is Shone. Shone is really the only one that's been there consistently, which, given the fact you were wanting to drill down on that anyways, that works out great. I don't have Xenofreeze here to answer for any of that just yet. So we don't know. He probably will have to say at this point, since he's not around. At least I don't think I got anything from him in the chat. Scroll up real quick. Here we go. So he's around, but he's around, but he's buried himself in his work. He has been trying hard to work on the nanotechnology issue.
Got it. Okay.
So he's around, but he's not available for power testing or anything of that nature. So you'll have to take care of that when next he's in game.
Yeah, because before I dozed off this afternoon, I was kind of thinking, because she's got energy and particle knowledge,
Right.
and she's in weapons engineering. If there was any way that she could make kind of like a taser that she can control the amps herself.
Okay, well, I will let you deal with that in character. That's obviously a conversation you guys can have. Right now, I'm just going through his downtime stuff.
Okay.
So I'm kind of jumping around a little bit because some of his downtime is contingent on what you guys have provided.
Right.
So Quantum Unlimited. So you are providing the quote unquote T drive, which he is absolutely all with Donovan McLaren. So he's all in on that.
Cool.
As a tech head. So that actually, they are in the process of being manufactured and should be distributed within about the next 2 months. There has been a leak into certain tech news magazines and whatnot about its impending arrival. And of course, it's got all the buzz right now online.
Sure.
Because it obviously beats the socks off of any hard drive that's out there currently by a long shot.
Cool. Very good.
Let's see. So that's very promising. You don't have initial sales figures yet, but he'll let you know as soon as they know how many they've been able to manufacture.
Nice. Okay.
Let's see. The flight suit. Was that for you?
That was the suit that also Lightbringer was like kind of spearheading, because it was the suit that was similar to the ones that the new Prussian forces would use.
Science
but
police. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. But it didn't have like a propeller. It just used special ways of moving air.
Gotcha. Okay. Give me a reason check.
Cool. Reason amazing. 20. I don't think that does it.
Okay.
Nope.
No.
White result.
So it is definitely not out of the scope of your keen intellect. However, with everything else that you've had going on, it's one of those things that you've earmarked in the back, but you just never seem to get around to finishing like you had hoped.
Okay, gotcha. So pretty much no progress on that so far.
Give me give me a hyper invention check at this point for the med scanner model that you're trying to turn into a prototype tech scanner.
Right. Okay. Hyper invention, incredible, and geez, 14. That's white as well.
So you have the shell.
Okay.
That's about it. None of the innards, nothing working. You're able to like, okay, well, I've pieced together some stuff.
It's gonna look good once I make it.
There you go. Yeah. So again, it's something you haven't been able to drill down on quite like you had hoped. And this may be why. So let's do. Give me a reason check as you are attempting to reverse engineer different technologies on Ixion's ship.
Right. Okay. Reason amazing, and yeah, it's better. 84,
Ooh,
which
look
gets
at
me. That's yellow.
Okay. Hey, Brittany, since I sent you this little clip, why don't you tell Dale where his reason lands him as far as reason feats?
Okay, I will pull that up.
I'm just saying it because I know you've got it.
Yeah, I might have screen capped it. I thought I screen capped it.
Well, I know I gave it to you in the form of an image, so if you just click on an image and scroll back, you'll find it pretty quick.
Well, yeah, but I was going to use it on my phone. That's fine. Please hold.
Hold, please.
Right.
Thank you for choosing Quantum Unlimited. Your call is valuable to us. Please hold for another moment.
We're moving up in the world when we have a system like that.
Yep, Kenny G, look out! Everybody's got Kenny G. You're an important company if you've got his hold music.
Yeah.
Okay. I had it and then I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. Okay, reason feats.
What is your reason, Hyperion?
Amazing.
So I have a chart that says, I'm guessing these are the level at which you succeed at doing that thing.
It's to give you examples of just how smart you are.
Oh, okay. So at amazing intensity, I'm gonna read the chart. At feeble intensity, simple machines. At poor intensity, complex machines and communication by gestures. Typical appliances. Good, simple electronics. Excellent, common vehicles. Remarkable, you get computer design and programming. Incredible lends itself to ability modifying devices. At amazing intensity, you are at the level of star drive and time travel.
Nice.
And then at monstrous, teleportation.
Gotcha. Okay.
So guess what you have been able to reverse engineer?
So then the faster than light
Yes.
drive. Nice. Awesome.
You got a hold
So-
of it, and you were smart enough to, in essence, reverse engineer it. Now you don't have a working copy at this point, partly because it's going to take you're going to have to develop some of the pieces that are going to be needed, and
Right.
find, of course, the resources in order to do that.
Gotcha.
But everything that you've got laid out, charts, plan, and everything, so long as you can make the pieces, you will be able to make, a vessel that is space worthy and can go faster than light.
Awesome. All right. Very cool.
So when are we going to time travel into 2023?
Uh-oh. As soon as there's a story appropriate reason to do it.
As soon as Lightbringer can get it up to 88 miles per hour. So that's what you've been able. That's the main piece you've been able to pull off of that, which obviously includes the power to drive the vessel as well.
Okay.
So properly shielding, a nuclear core to provide enough, wattage to throw that whole thing into space without using rocket technology, obviously.
Right. Nice.
Okay. So the other one, I will let you role play. That's 13. You were unsuccessful with the tech scanner, so 12 is irrelevant right now.
Right.
So you give me, since we're doing a month, give me 3 power stunt checks for your flight.
Okay. All right. So that's based off of that. Incredible. All right. Here we go. 74, not a red.
Okay.
56, not a red.
Okay.
80, which is not a red.
Okay. So you're still working on that.
Okay.
Now give me 3 for your invisible copy power stunt.
All right. Okay. Let's see. 62. No, not a red. That's amazing. Another 62. Still not a red.
Good rolls, just not a red.
Right. 10. Not a red.
Okay, so the time to take up that faster than light drive is clearly absorbed much more of your time than you had thought in your power stunts. Not as you had hoped. And of course, you will have karma, so I will get that to you guys here in a second. So we don't have Xeno Freeze for point number 15 just yet, so hold off on that one.
Sure.
Okay, and then we already talked about your thwart device. You have a working alpha test. Bugs are still in the process of being worked out. Okay.
Cool.
Good deal. So then that is you, Lightbringer. So we already kind of know what has been going on with you. The real question there is, how long did you stay? Because you really kind of had as much time as you would have wanted. I know initially you were saying, a week.
I don't know. I guess. I mean, I don't want to get in the way because.
Well, you clearly wouldn't have been.
I mean, I understand that he made me a priority, but running a country has a lot of daily tasks, and I wouldn't want to be the cause of putting those off.
Okay, so then coming back to the same question, how long would you have been there? Because remember, you also had that standing offer to work in their development lab.
Okay, maybe I stayed. Let's say I stayed 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. And of the other projects that you had been presented with, which other ones would you have worked on?
Any of them, maybe all of them.
Oh, okay. Well, given the fact that these would have been done over different time frames, why don't you give me a reason check? And are you adding your hyper intellect to that?
Duh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get a 1. Yeah, she
Give me
found
that kind of challenge.
she found out something really interesting, and I'll let her deal with that in character.
60.
Okay, so yes. So you had 4 choices, if I remember correctly. You worked on the language tool.
Yes.
What was that roll for? I'll let you
Maybe-
choose whichever one.
I didn't write down everything. I'm trying to take notes right now. To all of the other things that we did.
Okay. Well, go ahead and I'll let you divvy it out however you want. Just give me 3 more rolls. Or
Okay.
2 more at this point, since you've already gotten one of them out of the way.
You have an extra reroll, Brittany.
86.
Oh, hang on. 86. Good Lord. I mean, it's still a yes.
Is it a heck yes?
Probably. Let me just check.
And a 59.
Okay, yeah, you were firmly in the heck yeah for that last one. And you got a 59?
Yes.
Jeez, it's still a yellow result. Good Lord. Okay. So yeah. You have produced 4 new technological items for New Prussia based upon what they had been working on. All 4 of which are going to be able to roll out soon, given the fact that they had, well, based on the conversation you had, you know, they focus more on a few select technologies to develop, and they produce them rather than just put out like prototypes, you know, and then they go from there. So they will let you know, where that leads from there.
Okay. I'm going to go back through my notes or through chat and actually write down what they are.
Okay. Yeah, take your time. Justin.
Yes, sir.
So getting to you, you have abandoned your family and thrown yourself at this quest, trying to figure out where this darn island is. You have spent the entirety of the month failing to find the island. The one thing you have been able to determine, because I mean, it's been like you commented in your downtime, it's a wake up, look for it, go to sleep, wake up, look for it, go to sleep, da 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 da, you know, just rinse, lather, repeat, throwing yourself at this issue. One of the things that kind of stuck in your head from the brief conversation that you had with Blood Goblin about a month ago was that there was more to this item. And your misfortune at trying to find the island has led you to believe that you may not have all the pieces. And it may be because you're kind of out of your element here with magic. It may be something that you're going to need, not further training, but somebody with more knowledge of magic in general to kind of help you with this. If there are other pieces, maybe this island can't even be perceived without these other pieces.
Screw it, I cast Fireball.
It is
I'm
a
saying I'm
popular.
working my way to being a mage.
Sure. It is a popular podcast. In the future, you are a couple decades too early to listen to it.
But yeah, he didn't know any better. But
No, yeah, I mean,
his mentality is throw yourself at it and see if it solves the problem, and didn't worry about the consequences afterwards. As
Yep.
he looks at his left arm and realizes it's probably scarred.
it is not nearly as scarred as it could have been, but yes, you've still got the markings that show that it bore a terrible price on your soul.
But he does, like, out of the 24 hours, essentially, like 15 hours is spent searching, hour eating, hour practicing trying to develop his new power stunt, controlling plasma. Other than that, that's all he does all month long.
Okay, so
Probably has the simplest task.
give me three power stunt checks for your attempts to control the plasma.
That is going to be, I got 197 in here.
That's a red, so that'll count as a success.
The other one was a 48 and a 69.
Okay, so not enough, but you're on your way.
A new power stunt, PS, plasma control. 1.
Oh, and for the successful conflict in Argentina, everybody is getting 2,000 karma. Spend that.
I'm denoting this as War Arc.
Sure, that's what it was. Lightbringer, you just got yourself another reroll. This one came from Justin.
218. 1,900 of that is going to be banked.
Yeah, all right.
Or sorry, 1,800.
Sure, no problem. What are you banking it on?
350 is going to agility, which I'm going to increase here in a moment because I finally have the 4,000 for it. And the rest is going to be banked for fighting, which I think I only need 2,000 for.
Okay, well keep in mind you can only bank to one attribute at a time.
Yeah, I know, but my fighting is only a good, and I need to get that up to a little bit higher to be able to not plasma everything or try to put things to sleep.
To do some things, sure. Okay,
I'll get you the exact math in a little bit.
No problem. And Sean, you were working on obviously your powers. You did since you were at the vein the whole time. Hyperion would have come to you to give you a was like a gauge to help you show your power output, kind of like your own little Fitbit for your electricity.
Okay.
And in essence, it's there to help you show how much power you're putting out at any one point in time, so you know when you should probably pump the brakes and when you should probably go for broke.
Okay. Yeah, because that was kind of like my idea behind her, like little stun like thingy that she could power with her own electricity.
Sure.
Why don't you go ahead stun him instead of blowing him out?
Why don't you go ahead and give me a 3 power stunt checks?
Okay.
Since it's brand new, you're going to need to get a red result.
90?
With an AM50, maybe. Let me take a look.
Sure.
Hold on.
Okay.
You got what again?
90?
No, you missed it by 1.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. That's 70.
Okay, nope. And go again.
Oh, 93.
Okay, so you now have 1 successful attempt at your taser stunt.
Nice.
Bzit.
Now, what about her? What about her teleporting?
What about it?
Well, her multiple attacks that she was trying to do, or can she only do 1 power stunt at a time?
No, you can go ahead and try for that again. Give me 3 checks.
Okay. 49, probably not.
How many? Well, hold on. How many power stunts? How many times have you successfully done that teleport?
None.
Okay, so you need a red result.
Yeah. 55,
Nope.
90.
That is enough.
Oh, is it?
What's your teleport?
My teleport is RM30.
Oh, never mind. No, it is not.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
Nope. Okay, I was
So,
thinking something else.
taser gun, where would that be at? That's at a.
Ultimately it's at the same power rank as your electricity.
Okay, so AM50.
Yes. It just means it's an AM50. It's in essence when you perfect it, it'll be an AM50 stunning attack. You can still possibly kill with it, just like you can still possibly kill with a taser, but obviously, they're going to have to be like standing in water and some other circumstances. Otherwise, you just have a very, very potent taser.
Okay.
You could probably resurrect some people too.
I could.
Defibrillate.
Okay, so we have now caught up at this point. Time frame wise, it has been a month. Everybody, things are kind of quiet right now at the vein. Shone, you're the only one there right now. We'll assume that Hyperion is coming back in currently. So Hyperion, knowing Shone is here and everybody's been away, do you want to call a team meeting to kind of catch up everybody and find out where everybody is at and give them their goods?
Sure. Yeah. So when Hyperion gets there, he inserts his Newcom link and he says, Hyperion to Legacy. If everyone is available to come back to the vein, please do so at your earliest convenience. I have some goodies for everybody.
Okay, so Shone walks out in the main area, hearing the word goody.
Would they be compatible with the old communicators?
Yes.
I guess I will drive over.
Okay.
Or
I'll be touching down.
Or maybe I fly over.
Good question. Which would you prefer?
Flying, duh.
Okay. Okay.
She's sassy tonight.
Sorry.
Yes, she is.
Too much sun.
She's had too much exposure to me today, so you'll have to give her some slack.
That'll do it right there. Obviously.
Yeah. It will.
Jerome, did I get samples of anything that we did in New Prussia?
Absolutely.
Either the technologies and or the other stuff that I spoke with the PR guy about.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Anything you touched on? Yes.
Cool. I noticed. I went back through the notes, and there were, including the translation thing, there were 5 things they were working on.
Mm-hmm.
Did I just pick 4?
You could. If you stayed that long, you could have worked on all 5.
Okay. Well, I'll just pick my 4 favorites.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. All right. So I will attempt to fly to the vein.
Okay. So, why don't you just give me an agility check? You've had a chance to warm up with it, so it's not like it's raw, but you don't want to.
I also was going to ask, can you remind us what I haven't augmented I haven't spent any of my karma to upgrade my stats. So remind me what the
Oh, it's times 100.
Times 100 to
Yes.
get to the next thing.
Correct.
Okay. So
Your
from,
and your I'll just IM it to you. I'll let you reveal it as you see fit.
okay. Oh, agility. 25.
All right. So Angler is clearly on his way. Apparently, he had some static or whatnot. Hyperion,
No, that's the sound of the rocket.
well, or whatever.
There you go. Yeah.
So Hyperion, you and Shone are, of course, Shone comes out. You apparently have goodies. But then, as you shortly after you get done with that message, like just as Shone is getting her coffee and getting ready to start the day, you hear something hit the blast shield to the to the docking bay, and then you hear, "Oh."
Mainframe, can you identify what just hit us?
Affirmative. We have been attacked by Lightbringer.
Oh. Better go see if she's all right.
Permission
That
to open the
sounded
door.
painful. Yes, of course.
Okay, so the bay doors start to open. And basically, what happened, Lightbringer, is you took the turn like wrong, and too
Should've taken
wide,
that
and
Albuquerque.
with a bit too much speed, and just got the bug to a windshield treatment.
I meant to do that.
Hyperion walks out. Are you okay, Lightbringer?
I'm still getting it used to some of this stuff.
Well,
I'm
looks
gonna
like you weren't
just,
injured.
good to see you. Have you been? It sounds like you've been keeping busy.
I have, yes. I've made a few things for everybody, at least something that should help us with communication. It's not going to be the same as Cynet, but perhaps almost as good. A means of communicating slightly better than what we've been using before. We're just now waiting for, I believe Xenofreeze is still extremely busy, but we did receive a recall from Angler. He should be here any moment now.
Oh, good, excellent. I have a few things I think you'd be interested in too. From well, Jurgen let me work with his science minister, and we put our brains together on a few of their projects. So I got a good look at some of their technology. It was pretty neat.
Excellent.
So I'd like to show you some stuff.
Excited to hear it. So head back into the conference room, waiting for Angler to arrive.
Yeah, I mean, within a few more moments, you hear the familiar roar of his rocketing coming in. Oh, Diminutive Demon redeemed some points. So you now have a reroll Hyperion.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And first time chatter, too. Thank you.
It's very exciting.
Hey.
He'll touch down. He may not have left with the shoulder bag, but he's got some type of carrier's bag with him. So something just slipped over his shoulder, and I actually have a bag I could use, but we all know what a carrier's bag looked like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure
A
do.
dude purse.
A man bag.
Right.
I will admit I have a very nice man purse over there.
Yep.
You mean like a satchel?
Are you carrying a purse? No, sir. This is a European man bag.
It looks kind of like a laptop bag.
Right.
Yeah, no worries.
A messenger bag.
Angler. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's been a while since I've been on dry land.
Were you successful in your trip?
No. Long story short, I was looking for the origin of the pearl, and I just couldn't find it. I I think I'm missing something. I'm going to be reaching out to the agency and seeing if they have any magically trained folks over there to assist. I've got to be missing something.
Interesting. If there's any way I can help, please let me know. But reaching out to Aegis Foundation is an excellent idea.
Oh,
Well,
he pulls the satchel around. He has a bit of red coral. It's tied on a simple tweed, because that's something you can make on an island. um, Necklace. This is for you.
thank you.
And he pulls out a big pearl for Lightbringer. Same type of wrapping where it's obviously some type of leaf or tree bark. And he hasn't seen shown yet, so.
She's invisible right now.
I am. I'm at the coffee pot.
But did y'all think I would go out and not bring you back gifts?
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, now her ears perked up, so she's got to peek around the corner.
So
Free
Perion puts on
stuff.
his necklace.
Oh, hey, Sean. reaches into the bag, finds another pearl necklace, and hands it to her as well.
Oh, very pretty. Thank you.
Yeah, you won't find anything like that in the commercial markets.
No.
You definitely did your traveling.
I spent about 15, 16, 17 hours a day traveling under the water, on the water, above the water.
I bet you've missed that.
It was far more relaxing than you might think. Now I just got to get some type of internal navigation where I always know my longitude and latitude, and it'll be easier to break down the ocean into squares and search by square.
I
Something
bet we
to
could
make.
come up with a device like that.
Yeah, something we can look into.
Speaking of devices to look into, as I promised, I do have a modification for each of us. Your old communicators won't be necessary. We can use them for pieces. And he pulls out like a case, and he pulls out just a small, hidden earbud, and hands it. That's all it is. And he hands one to each of you. He's like, "This will replace the legacy communicator. We'll still be using mainframe as our hub, but this includes an additional refinement in signal boosting as well as the ability to speak and communicate subvocally. We'll no longer need to say things out loud in order for us to hear each other over the network. We can simply subvocalize the words that we need to speak. Therefore, it's similar to what we experienced with the SINET in Argentina, but of course not using telepathy, just a simpler, more tactical means of communication."
Nice.
This is very
Thank you.
impressive.
Thank you.
She'll
I've
switch it out.
been trying to work on several things throughout the month. Unfortunately, not as successful as I wanted to be, but things are working out well with Quantum Unlimited, the deal with Mr. McLaren, and the new transistor drive, or T drive. That should actually be manufactured and start distribution within a couple of months. It seems the tech world is all abuzz about it. So that will hopefully increase our funding and our ability to do what we need to do. Beyond that, Carmen, you mentioned that you had accomplished things in New Prussia with regard to technology and science. What did you do?
Well, they had a few projects in the development stages that I was able to help out on. There is a really interesting lithium ion battery that holds a charge for, we tested it for about 24 hours. And then there was a project where they were looking into fireproof insulation treatments for their buildings. Apparently, all of their inventions have to serve multiple purposes, and so this helps with the defensive goals of the country as well. And then there's this one. She like reaches into her bag and holds out what looks like a smartphone. It will allow you to connect to the internet from basically anywhere. And she'll hand it over to Hyperion to kind of toy with. But the most interesting thing that I think you'd want to hear about, she goes fishing in her bag again and like kind of rummages a little bit and then like pulls out a Lightbringer action figure and like puts that in the table like kind of an afterthought as she's like poking through, and then pulls out another device. She says, this is a translation vocoder that we had a really important use for. It's still in the testing stages, but it can hold 4 languages on it. And okay, I'll just get right to the point. While I was touring with Jurgen, I happened to notice that they had a very unusual detainee in their security team, and I queried mainframe to find out that it's what we call a Tabaxian. The story is New Prussian forces picked him up on the eastern border with Russia, and Jurgen and I were able to get some rudimentary communication with him. This was before we figured out the translation device. First of all, he thinks that Russian is the language of Earth. So
sounds like we have an alien on our hands.
Yes. That's a whole can of worms. But I had the idea to since I recognized the description from Mainframe's catalog, I figured that Electrum had encountered them before, so I took a chance to see if maybe he would recognize Electrum. And so using an illusion of Electrum in the cell with him, they were able to have a conversation. As I said, a rudimentary one. Apparently, he came to Earth looking for Electrum on behalf of his people. Apparently, there was some kind of revolution among his people, and he was looking for a peacekeeper. So now that the devices about ready, I think they'll probably be questioning him further. But yeah, like I saw a real alien.
Is Xenofreeze not a real alien?
Oh well, I mean he kind of doesn't count.
One you're not directly related to, perhaps.
At least I hope not.
Well, knowing Electrum, I suppose I wouldn't put it past him, but that is fascinating. If memory serves, we actually have a non-functioning Tavaxian communicator here in the vein in the trophy room.
Oh really?
I wonder if we can modify that and see what can come from it. But the translation device, does it work then with Tavaxian language?
Our hope was to be able to develop it in that direction, but Jerome, would I have been there to see that through?
Yes. What they did is when the Russian translation was suitable enough, they communicated with the individual in Russian to provide the linguistics for his own language.
So we don't have a report for any like further.
Yeah, not as of yet. No.
Okay.
That is fascinating. Excellent. Well,
And then she'll notice that she put the action figure on the table, and she'll just like put that back in her bag.
yes. And that doll that you had, what was that? That looked like you.
Oh, yeah. So, apparently, the New Prussian people are aware that Lightbringer is the granddaughter of their president, and I made some merchandising deals.
So we have a new Prussian celebrity on our team, is what I'm hearing.
Well, it's a little bit awkward, but they seem to be very energized and um, inspired. She like winces when she says that, by the idea of someone, an American superhero fighting on behalf of not only deviants, but everything that we did in Argentina with rescuing humans and deviants alike. That made a big impression on them. So,
Well, excellent.
it's a little self-aggrandizing to me, but I mean, honestly, if I had someone like that to look up to when I was a young, superpowered girl, scared of who I was, I would have really latched onto it. So I figure it can do a little good.
I believe you're correct.
Has the super idiots called or tried to reach out to us after Argentina? My other brother and sister.
No, yeah, Jerome. Did we get so then? Ms. McCall is still working on like that hunch with regard to the Justice Legion, right? Okay,
Yeah,
and so
she still is. Nobody has reached out from that side as of yet.
Okay, and like I'm assuming none of the Justice Legion have like made themselves known to us at all during this time or anything.
No,
okay,
no.
All right.
I did ask Jurgen what he thought about that. he seems to think that at least Monarch coming after us like that was a reflection on our connection with New Prussia. Just being fighting with them and being associated with them. He seems to think that that means we are also the bad guys now. But take that with a grain of salt because, I mean, honestly, we don't have firsthand understanding of his mind, but also Jurgen has his own.
Jurgen's probably not too far off of the truth.
He there are certain topics that he has a difficult time being objective about.
Yeah, it's why I called all 5 of them super idiots. So, has everyone been keeping up with their training?
As much as possible. Not everyone has been here, but Shone and I have been trying to work on teamwork maneuvers.
Did you make her that the amp gauge thing that I mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
She has 2 cuffs, power cuffs, that allow her to view the amperage and voltage of each strike. It seems that she's actually been making excellent progress.
I've also engineered a gun that can put out a small electrical charge enough to stun a person instead of crispifying them.
And what level of the danger room are you on right now?
Heck if I know. That's from Shelley. Shelley has no idea.
Are you suggesting we test our abilities?
Well, I know I haven't advanced in my skills in a month because I've been exploring, for lack of better phrasing.
I did some training with my grandfather, but it was more along the lines of testing my limits rather than testing the fine-tuning control.
You still glowing?
I am not.
Have you had issues with that particular flaw before? Do you keep glowing at random times?
Jerome, did I didn't, did I?
No, you did not. This didn't
Okay.
start happening until the change.
Okay. No, I've been able to clamp down on my radiation emission ability.
Good. It means we're not going to hurt anyone by accident or have to take time and possibly risk our lives trying to deradiate somebody.
Oh, and your medicals
were sent
were sent with you, Lightbringer.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was able to also speak with their medical team to test my blood. And
what did they find?
Well, that gene is still active. I think we'll have to take another look over time and see how it has changed in the future. But that was essentially what we found.
Confirmation then that that is what the meta-activity field did. For whatever reason, it amplified the empowerment mutation in all of you.
I think it would be a very good idea for us to contact the ambassador and try and track down his daughter and or some of those students and see if they were affected as well. Jurgen seems to think that it has a similar effect to some of those super soldier programs from World War II.
That seems to be what the Senians were trying to do as well. Use different forms of meta-activity in order to provide themselves with powers, such as the individual Sagan put under arrest at Quantum Unlimited. Well, yes, I haven't heard anything from the senator for a while, actually. We should contact him.
We
Before
should
doing that-
have Aegis reach out on our behalf. They can probably take a significantly more diplomatic approach.
Should we tell them about the emission field and our suspicions?
It would be prudent, at least the existence of the field. We, of course, don't know the exact reason why they had the field, and I have been thinking about that scenario. That it's strange that they gathered the individuals there, but instead of taking them to a secure location, they simply surrounded that school.
Wait,
As
Aegis
if-
hasn't reached out to us to debrief at all?
Have they at all, Jerome?
Yeah, they would have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they would have at the time the war had concluded.
Would we have gotten any information as far as what that meta activity field was or anything that?
It's still way too early to tell. And of
Okay.
course, there's a lot of red tape now because the UN has stepped in to try and help clean up, the problems that were there, as well as help to oversee a transition change in the regime because of everything. So it's a big old mess right now.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, there was one other interesting technology that I brought back with me. I think you all might like it very much. And she'll punch a button on her watch, and suddenly she's wearing her uniform.
Interesting.
And then she'll punch it again, and then suddenly she's wearing plain clothes again.
Are you actually wearing your uniform and this is disguising it?
No. This is called a quantum photonic reassembler. It's configured to my particular body, and this particular model only holds my uniform. But this is the sort of device that Sagan has where she keeps weapons and such.
Of course. We've
She'll
seen her
take it
use
off and give it to Hyperion to look at.
Okay.
Is Sagan still going to be supervising you?
Is she going to be supervising me?
Yeah,
Jerome?
she's still around.
Okay.
She's not here
yeah.
currently, but she's still around. Yeah.
I think this is probably going to be a semi-permanent thing.
Okay.
I am a
Fascinating.
celebrity after all, or whatever.
You will need
All
your
right.
entourage, apparently.
Ugh. Has everyone had breakfast yet?
We should go have breakfast
I've had
if
coffee.
you all haven't.
I literally came straight here. I've been flying more or less straight for a day and a half coming in off the coast of California.
Wow. And boy, are your arms tired.
Yeah, they are. Even with my body underwater, I'm still swimming for that long. It can get tiring. Although
it's
the
time
great
to
thing
recharge.
about being a human at anywhere between 10 to 5,000 to 20,000 feet under the sea, the sea life down there doesn't really want to mess with you because you're a human and you don't belong there. If you don't belong there, they ignore you.
So you're saying it's safer than you would have thought.
Yeah. When you go down there and you've got a bunch of lights flashing everywhere, then you look nice and pretty. But just a warm body floating in the middle of the ocean, as large as I am, I'm out of place. Out of place things in the ocean are trying to eat you. You stay away from those.
Makes sense. Well, excellent. Let's have breakfast. My treat.
As he actually goes into the vein, he's going to find Xenofreeze's room, and he's going to leave a blue coral necklace for him.
Sure. Okay.
So then
So
Hyperion
all-
goes ahead and gathers everybody in. So, that we
So
can-
is there any particular place you're going to for breakfast? And
IHOP.
Muffins.
are you going to are you like all meeting there, or are you taking the same vehicle?
Oh, he was going to cook breakfast.
Oh, you're going to cook breakfast?
Yeah.
Okay.
So no IHOP.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, even Davy Jones is like IHOP. Because right about now,
Nah,
I
he's
think,
making migas.
right about now, I think they're actually running their Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity breakfast promos.
That was one of my favorites.
He pulls out of his bag a couple of bags of tortillas, chips. He's got some eggs and a few tomatoes, some green peppers, some red peppers, and he just starts
Breakfast burritos.
migas.
Oh, migas, even better.
Okay,
Okay.
for anyone who doesn't know what migas is,
I
and I'm
don't.
pretty sure everyone from Arizona and Texas does.
No, I do not. But I'm not
Um,
from here.
It's corn chips, eggs, and some types of vegetables. So
Oh.
tomatoes, bell peppers, and
Down
then
with
you
that.
take
That
the
sounds
corn
good.
chips and you cook it in with the eggs, and they get nice and they get soft enough where they don't hurt your like gums if you bite into them, but they're just crispy enough where
To
you
give
can
it
get that
nice
texture to
texture.
them.
Nice.
They
Cool.
are delicious.
Okay, so you are currently working on that, getting everything assembled. Go ahead and continue role playing. I'm going to get myself another drink real quick because I hydrate.
Okay.
I hydrate. Oh yeah, Shion, I gave you another reroll.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Oh shoot, I was gonna do that, and then there was a timeout, and I forgot.
Anything other interesting happen while I was out?
I don't think so. At least not on my end.
Beyond
Has anyone
that,
run the obstacle? Has anybody run the flight course while I was gone?
Oh, you know what? I would love to do that.
Even if you can't fly, you can still run it. That way you can practice throwing on the fly. I finally got the plasma where I can form it into different shapes. That's something that's nice.
excellent.
That
Did
would
the
be kind
shapes
of
have to
interesting
be-
to see.
Do you have to hold on to the shapes that you're creating, or can they be made at range?
I haven't gotten that far with it yet. I've done it once. I was on this little island, and well, have you ever had a coconut like you lean up against a tree and then just coconuts start falling on your head?
Can't say
Can't
that I have.
say.
No.
Yeah, it was kind of a reflex thing. I threw up my hands and I got the plasma shield I was trying to create before we got into the Argentinian situation. You only need one concussion from coconuts. I saw the rest coming down, threw my hands up.
And you stopped said coconuts. Congratulations.
Yeah, plasma will melt a coconut.
Wouldn't the plasma then rain down on you?
I was apparently at the time in complete control of it.
If the
It
plasma
was-
atomizes the object, none of it should then rain down, theoretically.
I guess that makes sense.
It'll be nice if we ever get into a situation where we've got an artillery piece shooting at us again. I can just throw that up instead of having to run into it with the rocket shield going.
Of course. That's excellent news.
Which will be very nice not to take some hits like that. They didn't really hurt, but getting flung halfway across the battlefield doesn't always look cool.
Yet it's still impressive. Speaking of which, I take it then you haven't been able to make any progress with regard to your magical artifact.
No, that's what I was saying earlier. I couldn't find the island. I had a vision whenever I was working with Blood Goblin about this island. I think it was in the Pacific, or at least it felt like the Pacific. It's hard to describe. Y'all haven't spent like gratuitous amount of times down in the ocean. It felt like the Pacific. And while I was down there, I just couldn't find it. So I really think I'm missing something. It has to be something specific, and I just whenever we get done here and we practice a little bit, I'm gonna go and speak with Daegis about it.
How did you come by this pearl anyway? I don't think you ever told us the story.
I found it actually down in the bottom of an ocean. The brother and the sister, part of the super idiots, they were off doing their kind of own thing. We were swimming together, and I want to say like I saw it or it called out to me, but no, I saw it. I picked it up. You wouldn't believe how much trash you can pick up down there, how much valuable stuff you can pick up down there.
Do you think it was maybe part of like a shipwreck?
Could have been. I imagine if I'm taking the damage I took, some of the less bodily able might get torched if they accidentally used it without knowing it.
Interesting. If you have any more of those dreams, please let us know. It'd be interesting to see if we could piece that together. Although I do agree with your idea that reaching out to Aegis to see if they have another magical expert that could assist. Good idea.
Yeah, I think that's the best idea. It feels like something's missing. That's what Blood Goblin said. This might not have been something I can find without either the rest of the pearl, an apparatus that goes with it, or maybe it's a part of a set of pearls that work in conjunction together. I don't know yet.
And as you guys are talking, and the scent of food is filling the air and going on, you end up hearing Mainframe announce, "Attention, angler, or syntax error is entering the vein." And you hear the door. You hear the doors opening to the bay door.
Who's syntax error?
That was supposed to be you. He's decided to refer to you in that way instead of your original name. Who else is actually here, Mainframe? Freddy is already within the vein.
He says, "Affirmative. Syntax error and syntax error are in the vein."
Are
we
you
have
still
more
calling me
eggs?
that?
And you
Do we have more eggs? We're gonna need a lot more eggs.
you end up hearing some voices outside basically near where the Ixion ship is currently docked.
Need to go
Do you have a-
investigate.
Do you have a clone that we don't know about?
I have 2 other members of the triplets.
Yeah. So Hyperion goes to see who's out there.
Okay, so as you come approaching out, basically what you see are 2 individuals. One is in a very dark costume, kind of avian looking, in a sense. A very angular kind of mask that comes down. Think kind of a mix of Blue Falcon, the Hanna-Barbera cartoon character, meets Batman. Kind of that sort of look, but obviously not blue. It's more like dark grays, blacks, and maybe a little bit of a blue to blend in with the cityscapes and whatnot. But very avian looking, kind of lean. He has a tech belt, around his waist of some form. And he seems to be talking to the other individual, who's looks very much like almost like somebody superheroed out a U.S. Army uniform. So he's got a mask on, and it's got some a little bit of plating to it or whatnot. But for the most part, it looks like what you would expect like an infantry grunt to kind of wear. So it's tactical. It's got the camouflage and whatnot. And you see he's turning to look to the guy, and he says, yeah, I totally don't get why the Vane is making this announcement. This is really bizarre. And then he as he turns and he looks and he spots Hyperion, he looks enraged and he says, "Dr. Clono!" And you see him explode in a very similar rocket-like form, and he engages. You have, if you give me a successful intuition check, you will be able to dodge.
Okay. Oh boy. All right. So intuition is at EX20. 63. That is a green result.
Okay. So yes, so you are just on the balls of your heels at this point when when he's rocketing toward you. So you have the opportunity to try and dodge, but he's coming fast. Way faster than you expected.
Then I will go ahead and try to dodge, and I'll reflexively activate my reflection field.
Sure.
All right, dodging, and oh yeah, so I have martial arts. That's going to boost it up a column. Dodging, is that going to be agility or fighting?
Agility.
Okay. Okay, so that'll make it effectively a good 31. Not good enough.
Not good enough. Okay. So wham! So you get buried like right into the ground, really hard with this loud impact. And kind of like a rippling explosion of rocketing energy all around him. Everybody else, Lightbringer, Angler, and Shone, this looks like maybe a bit beefier, but the splitting image of Angler in a U.S. Army uniform. And so as we are entering into combat, whoever was with them is running to jump in, but you hear him saying, "Wait!"
Okay.
So go ahead and roll d10s and let me know what everybody's doing here.
All right.
Okay.
I got me
9.
a nice little 10.
I got a
Nice.
9.
Oh, 1d10.
Yeah.
5.
Okay.
Dang it, I
And-
got a 90 on the other.
And also a 5 for Hyperion.
Okay. And Lightbringer, what'd you get again?
5.
Okay.
Wait, is this for initiative?
Yeah,
Oh, wait. Never mind. I keep forgetting Danger Sense is not initiative based.
that is correct. And Shone?
9.
9. Okay.
Wee!
So Angler, you are acting first.
Throat punch him.
Hey! He actually does this. He's trying to calm everyone down. Hey! Chill out. I'm cooking breakfast. I'm actually trying to de-escalate the situation.
Okay, give me a popularity check. Add an effective shift 0.
That's going to be 47.
That's a white result. Okay, so you're like, hey.
Yeah, that's... No, wait, hold on. It might be good. Popularity is a good.
No, add
That
a shift.
is a green
add
result.
a shift 0.
Yeah.
Oh,
According, yeah.
oh, okay. So you're saying shift all the way down. I got you. Never mind.
Yeah, so not nearly good enough. Obviously, your family would, heed that. They know who you are. You're trying to keep a level head. So you're trying to diffuse the situation, and as that happens, so we are now at Shone.
You guys are going to smell that scent of ozone burning as electricity kind of starts to burn in her little taser gun.
Okay.
She's going to try and stun the guy.
Okay, let her rip. You're shooting, so it's an agility check.
Did you say there's 2 guys?
Yes.
Yeah. One on top of Hyperion, and the other one going, wait!
Okay.
Okay. That's a 40 on an unearthly.
Okay, that is a hit. 1 second. Okay, so you surprisingly enough, you actually managed to stun him with that shot as he's like lights up with stunning energy. He is kind of rolling off of Hyperion for a bit. Oh, by the way, Hyperion,
Yeah.
minus obviously your protection to physical attack. You'll let me know where that winds up. You took 75 points of damage.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, he wouldn't have been wearing his suit, so take 20 off that. So he took 65 damage then.
Oh.
Or no, he took 55 damage.
There you go. Boom.
Okay.
So and so he's stunned at this point. The other guy, and you can hear the defenses of the vein at this point starting to open up, because it has defenses.
Yeah.
And he ends up throwing he reaches into his pouch and throws up something into the air, and bright flashes crackle everywhere. Give me agility, or not agility, but intuition checks. Obviously, your danger sense is not going off with this Lightbringer. So you're still going to get an intuition check to cover your eyes. Sorry.
I will also mention, in case it's relevant, I have a -2 column shift against light damage.
Sure.
63, so green for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 88.
96.
Nice. Okay.
White result here.
So white result.
Yeah, white
Oh.
result from me.
Okay, so you get completely blinded.
Yeah.
From basically they're like flashbangs.
Okay.
That erupt. So there's no damage per se. The rest of you are seeing some stars, but nowhere near enough to really impair any actions that you might take. Because when you saw it, you just kind of instinctively like covered up or turned away or tried to dodge or something, because you weren't sure what was being lobbed at you guys. And he ends up yelling as he does that. He says, "Citizen, stand down." We are now at everybody else.
Who are you guys, and how did you find your way here?
Oh, that's Hyperion and Lightbringer right now.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
I'm going to put on my uniform,
Okay.
but I'd like to do an empathy check.
Sure.
So use psyche, right?
Yes.
54 is green.
Okay. The individual who has kind of an avian costume looking sort of look to him, he seems surprised and concerned. The other individual who pummeled your brother into the ground seems to be thoroughly enraged.
Okay. Is that it, or can I actually like attack or something?
No, you can still attack
Okay.
if that's what you're wanting to do.
So he's got Hyperion like pinned against a wall.
No, not anymore. He
He just, like,
basically slammed him hard into the ground, really
Okay.
hard.
And then he was stunned and is rolled
Yeah.
off of Hyperion.
Yeah, I'm gonna blast him.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and go for half power.
Okay. Sure. Good point. So go ahead and make an agility check. Just don't get a white result.
I got a white result.
Oh my gosh.
How white was that result?
Okay. So we will decide it this
I
way.
got a 19.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Wow. Okay. So Dale,
Yeah.
would you like odd or would you like even?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
even
Reroll?
he does have
You did
his
pull it up. Yes.
thing on, so I'll go even.
Okay. Even. Okay. So how much does your energy reflection give you? What's the power rank?
It's at a good 10.
Oh, okay. So she accidentally, maybe you, because of the blinding flash, you mistargeted. So you fire. Some of the energy does reflect off. However, you still wind up taking 30 points of, or oh wait, you said half power. So half, so 25. So you still take 15.
Okay.
So basically, the beam kind of bisects a little bit. Bang! Some of it clearly impacting and searing you. The other part of it striking the other individual. Didn't seem to do a whole lot, but the other part of it kind of struck and hit him.
Okay. All right. And with that, Hyperion is going to generate 10 copies and have them just kind of appear where he remembered the guy was before being blinded. So at that point, because the copies are there, theoretically, he should just be able to see normally through the copies because they weren't blinded. And once they all appear, he's going to have them all saying at the same time to the tactical dude, "I'm not who you think I am. Stop your attack. I'm Hyperion."
Give me a popularity check. You will you roll your popularity.
Okay.
Which, speaking of which, now that we've gotten a chance to start talking about that, bump your popularity by 15.
Nice.
In New Prussia only, you're at a plus 20.
Okay.
With the exception of the angler, who is only at a plus 5.
All right.
Word
So
has
then-
gotten around he has been kind of sassy to the brass, and they're not all too thrilled about that.
Nice. Okay, it puts my popularity at 36. That makes it.
Has that
remarkable.
become a defining characteristic, sass?
That's the brass.
All right. So at remarkable 95 red
Oh,
results.
nice. Okay. So he moves. So at this point, at the top of the round, so angler, are you doing anything?
I'm gonna hold my action just in case I need to knock someone away.
Sure. Okay. Shone, are you doing anything?
I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna hold my action.
Sure. Okay. So at that point, the other guy who was with him jumps in front of Hyperion as the other guy is clearing his head and getting ready to attack. And he says, "Whoa, citizen, slow down. This is clearly not the person this is clearly not the person you're after." He literally does like one of those numbers, like he's doing the Jedi mind trick. And so he's like, he's huffing and trying to calm down. And he says, "Sorry, just didn't expect him to be here. And he's got a clone of me over there too. Just way too many parallels." And when he's talking and everything, he sounds exactly like Angler.
Then
What is-
Hyperion's like, what do you mean a clone? You're referring to Angler?
And he's like, looks over and he says, "You gave him a name?"
I've had a name for a very long time.
I'm really confused.
and so
Sounds like someone's been lied to because I ain't no clone.
So at that point, the guy is still kind of standing. He said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" He says, "Stop, stop, stop." He says, "Okay." So he says, "All right. So, citizen, you told me that this was your father's lair, right?" He says, "So, are we in the same spot?"
Is your father Electrum?
He says, "Yeah."
Then yes, you're in the right spot.
And so
If y'all promise not to be hostile, I'm making breakfast. I just got back after a month trip on the ocean. I'll cook for y'all.
And so they're hesitant for a second. And at this point, like, robotic tentacles have come out from the roof and floor, looking very like Doc Ock, sort of things, like they were getting ready to grapple and get into combat. And so he stops and he powers down his his shielding at this point. And he's like, and he looks and he takes a finger and he pokes Hyperion. Not like hard, but like he's testing the tensile strength and whatnot. He says, "You're not even human."
Correct.
And so at that point, the guy looks at me and says, "All right, look, citizen, I told you about this. That's probably why this was a bad idea. This guy clearly is not the guy from your dimension. So that means he's probably not a clone." And so he's just like, "Oh, of all the things that could cross over, good Lord."
More aliens, now interdimensional travel beings.
Y'all
want breakfast or not?
I'm still confused.
Yeah. Me too.
He says, "All right, let me speak on behalf of my hot-headed friend." And he says, "If he's anything like your friend, you probably understand some." He says, "I am Black Kestrel." He says, "This is Citizen Soldier. We're a part of the Protectors."
Have we ever heard of the Protectors?
Give me an intuition check.
72.
80.
I'm yellow.
51 green.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a yellow as well.
Sure. Yeah, you guys have actually heard of the Protectors.
So they're an Earth group.
They are, yes.
Citizen what?
Citizen Soldier.
And
he is and welcome, Derek, as you snuck in there.
Hey.
Yes, I did.
So he you guys have heard of the Protectors. They are an East Coast team that operates out of Boston area.
Boston.
Well, seeing as they already know this place is what it is, suppose we could let them inside?
Now that they're not hostile, Mainframe's just going to let them in anyways, because apparently we're all have the same 3 DNA. I'm going back to the Migas. And he turns back around. He goes back to the kitchen and starts cooking again.
Is it possible that they are more than just triplets?
We have to understand what's happening, and
yeah, and at that point, Black Kestrel and Citizen Soldier both go like, "Wait, whoa, triplets?"
Yes.
Yeah,
Obviously, there are different things here. the both of you, are you claiming that both of you have Electrum as your father?
Blackhair's like, whoa, me? No. He says, no, I'm not even deviant. I'm more of a, I've got a lot of tech and gadgets and.
So you're here for moral support.
What, you think I can't do anything?
No, you're here for moral support. Or
No,
were
I
you
was.
coming here for a fight?
No, we were coming here to explore this place. He was telling me this has been abandoned.
Oh, well, it's not abandoned anymore.
And clearly it's not, and I apologize profusely on behalf of my teammate. He kind of like looks over at him. He's like, whatever. Parallels.
How did you know this was Electrum's hideout?
So I mean, at that point, Citizen Soldier is just like, hey, he brought me here. This is where I learned how to use my powers. And he says, now that I kind of look at it, it's got a little bit different of a look about it. That probably should have been the first indicator.
Did you grow up knowing Electrum was your father?
Yeah. World's premier superhero.
He sets 2 extra plates around the table.
Okay.
Go inside. And she's gonna like push them to the door.
Okay, so yeah, they're both kind of looking at each other, and Black Castle just goes like, "No, just make peace. Go on." And he's like, "Okay." So he just kind of follows.
So yeah, Hyperion will also head to the table, not to eat, obviously, but to just sit and discuss. And then he'll be like, Citizen Soldier, you're talking about things being different from what you remember here. When was it that you were here at the Vein in the past? How long ago?
So you mean my dimension or this one?
That answers the other question as well. Your other dimension. How did you leave your parallel reality?
You?
Me from that reality, then?
That's why I just about stomped a mud hole in you.
What is it that my doppelganger there does in that dimension?
You control like half the world.
Interesting.
I knew it was only time.
Carmen busts up laughing.
He sets down plates for everybody.
When you developed quantum satellite technology, you had most of the countries at your beck and call. And without Electrum around to stop you, you were just dropping Thors on just about any superhero team that dares stand up to you.
And was he an android as well?
He's an android?
I am, yes.
No. You made a name for cloning technology.
Interesting.
It must be different. In this dimension, I was created by Electrum, amongst others.
And so he's just like holding his head like, oh, wow. That explains so much.
I'm one of 3 triplets.
I was created by him too, but just the old-fashioned way.
Some Barry White. Maybe a glass of wine.
So parallel Earths is a thing now. After all I've seen, that's a perfectly acceptable reality.
Well, yeah, because I come from a different dimension, but not like a parallel reality.
So are both of you from different parallel realities or the same parallel reality?
No, I'm from here.
Well, you tripped off the alarm as me.
No, that's Black Kestrel speaking. He says we found Citizen Soldier a couple months ago.
Yeah, our mainframe system said 2 of me had entered the hangar.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Are you using some sort of biological scanner? I would imagine you probably seem very similar to him.
So it's
No, but it
referencing
detected 2, as in the 2 people in the hangar bay.
that may
You
have
and Citizen Soldier.
That may-
No, not me. No, and mainframe detected only Citizen Soldier initially.
that may have been mainframe indicating that you and he were of the same genetic type, and therefore identified both of you as the same.
Well, he can't even get my name right. He calls me Syntax Error. I'm not surprised.
You wanted to change
apologize
his
then.
name.
Mainframe, can you modify that designation to differentiate the two of them?
Affirmative. Syntax error 1 and 2.
I knew it.
Which is which?
The syntax error is the one native to this territory. The syntax 2 is the recent attendee.
Oh, and Xenofreeze, you will find a blue coral necklace in your room whenever you wake up from it and start heading in.
Okay.
I'm not leaving you out.
Well, welcome to the vein. Make yourselves at home for the time being. What was it you were then wanting to accomplish coming back to the vein? Finding Electrum?
No, Black Kestrel is like, no, he was just trying to help us with a potential technology issue, and he thought maybe there would be something here.
I see. If you have an issue with some sort of technology, that happens to be our expertise. What help did you need?
I thought your expertise was just on deviance. That seems to be what you're making the news for.
Well, it is that, but as well as that, other advanced super tech and super scientific technologies. That's just something that we are working on for the time being.
Oh. Oh well, all right. Are you aware of the black market sentient technology that's been making its way into the United States?
We've seen some of it in action. What specific technology are you referring to?
Black market inhibitor collars, as well as this. It seems to be like a field generator of some kind. It has, from what we've been able to determine, it has the capability of altering the genetic code of individuals.
Meta activity field maker. We ran into that in Argentina, and it's affected several of the members here.
So he looks over to Citizen Soldier and elbows him. He's like, yeah, see, we still stumbled on a good lead. He said, still, I am super sorry. This is like a horrible breach of protocol to just stumble onto an actual base of superheroes. I sincerely apologize.
It's all right. I can effect repairs later.
Should I wipe their memories?
Yeah, he's like, excuse me?
I'm just kidding. I can't do that.
He looks at Citizen's shoulder. Only child?
Yeah.
Went to the Navy?
No. U.S. Went into the Army.
Father, what was your mother's name?
Hold on a
Martha.
second. Yeah, Martha.
I forgot to give her a name. I went back and checked our conversation.
Mom.
Yeah, her name is Mom. Yeah, no. But we'll say she's her name was Sarah, but yeah. So Bill and Sarah Layton.
Like, I believe you're another version of me from a different universe, but interesting how you went to the Army, I went to the Navy. You were only child. I was part of a triplet set.
Okay.
He lifts up his shirt and shows off the gills.
Well, he was gonna point out the fact that you had something odd on your shoulders. So you
For
lift
breathing
up
underwater.
okay. Why would you need to do that?
Apparently, the Navy knew my father was Electrum and decided that me and my two other siblings were right for medical experimentation.
Oh wow, sucks to be you.
Okay.
No, we got. He says no. I got recruited straight away into the Army. Went through a special forces program.
Mexican or Italian?
Pizza.
I like them.
Okay.
He starts cooking up some more food.
Okay.
Come on, Kai Kai.
And he seems a bit
Putty tat.
I think I like him better than your other siblings.
Who are your other siblings? My other siblings, dimensionally challenged.
The other two of my triplet set are national heroes.
Dummy 1 and Dummy 2.
But occasionally they're about as smart as a stone sitting on the ground.
Okay, noted. I guess that's odd way to put that.
They are arrogant, and they recently joined the Justice Legion, which we're finding is not all that they seem.
Okay.
They also attacked us recently, so you have that in common.
Although Monarch did want to take the swings at me, I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not.
Jerome, does it seem like they recognize us?
The fact that you guys are kind of throwing out,
I'm starting to feel
angler and what. They
uncomfortable about the whole identity thing.
Well, you put your costume on. Remember?
Yeah, but nobody else has theirs on, and also
So it's clear they're in the Legacy space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what help did you need with regard to this Senian black market tech?
Well, we were hoping to use the computer to track that down. He was telling me that in his world, it had connection to most of the satellites that you apparently didn't operate.
I see. We can gain access. Is there some sort of signature we should be looking for the tech emanates?
He says, okay, well, I guess we're partnering up here. He reaches into one of his pouches real quick and pulls out a scrap piece of paper. He says, we've we've managed to find a couple of telltale signs. It's like just some names scribbled down. Everything seems to be pointing back to. It looks like they're running some sort of underground distribution method. We haven't really narrowed down the field, the focus at this point. We do know, however, the if one of those generators is around, it seems to leak some sort of decaying particles that can be picked up if it's in an area for too long. We've tracked exposure sicknesses, which is kind of how we've been tracking it so far. So we've been watching cases that have been tallying up in small hospitals around the United States.
I see. What are the symptoms exactly of exposure?
Depends upon how long. It starts off with rash, sores. It could also lead to stomach pains and vomiting and hair loss, very similar to exposure to low-grade nuclear sources.
Understood. None of you have experienced any deleterious effects, rashes, anything of that nature, have you?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Right. Well, if you have the signature available, we can have our computer see if they can track it.
And so, yeah, he hands you the slip of paper that they've made their notes on thus far, putting everything together.
He takes that and he shuffles over to the main computer bank and types in the, code in there from the piece of paper and says, "Mainframe, if you could please search for this signature within the confines of the United States border."
Collating will take some time to process.
Understood.
And so while you're doing that, Citizen Soldier looks over at Shone and he says, "Hey, how you doing?"
Please don't.
What? Just making conversation.
I'm related to you.
What?
Yeah, Electrum is my father.
So he looks around and he starts going like,
Every last one of us. You want seconds?
Really?
If they want to go fist for fist, they'd still be fighting. We'd still be fighting with them.
The guy just tried to pick up on me.
I don't think he's going to do it again, are you?
"Yeah, no.
He didn't know any better.
I didn't know that
do
apparently
either
you're
of you
all
want
related
seconds?
to him."
Wait till they get a load of me.
Yeah.
Like he's legitimately looking at people. Seconds?
I'll take
so,
some.
so Black Kestrel's like, I mean, if you're offering, I'm happy to take a little bit more.
He'll be anyone who wants seconds gets another full plateful. Well, like a serving full.
Right. Sure.
Now he sits down with the full plateful, but we all know he eats like a horse. So
Okay.
While we're waiting for Mainframe to see what he can find, Citizen Soldier, how did you manage to end up here? Was that an accident or on purpose?
No, you kicked me through a portal.
I see. Interesting. Has he been doing that to...
You somehow have this sort of portal thing that's got a bunch of units of measure or whatnot. It looks like one of those decoder rings that you find in a cereal box or something. Obviously much more serious looking. But you aligned it just right and kicked me through as an experiment.
This is Sparta.
Oh, sorry that happened to you. Glad that you weren't sent into outer space or directly into a black hole or something of that nature.
That's what I was thinking, Davy Jones.
You mean like that movie Stargate that just came out?
That does seem similar, doesn't it? But that isn't alternate realities. That's traversing large distances, cosmic distances. Fascinating. Do you know if he's done this to anybody else, or was it simply you?
I've got no idea. All I know is that there aren't many of us left on my world. He's done away with them. But you have done away with them.
Sorry to hear. Well, glad that you're no longer in that position.
Okay. I mean, that was still the world that I knew. What few people that were in my life are gone. Probably dead at this point.
Granted.
So thanks, I guess.
I apologize. My point is that you survived what seemed to be an impossible situation, and at least your life wasn't lost, and you've now found friends. I'm sorry for everything you've lost. We have others who have lost much as well, their own worlds.
Yeah, and so I mean, at that point, like Black Kestrel kind of looks at him, and he ducks his head a bit to keep his comments to himself, maybe or whatnot. And he looks around, and he Black Kestrel, he thanks you for the food and whatnot. He says, I'll tell you what, why don't we go when you have some information to provide on this particular case. He just lays down a card with a number on it. He says, just call this number, and someone will put you in touch with us, and we'll figure this out.
Excellent. We'll do that then.
In the meantime, again, I am seriously sorry. He assured me.
I mean, we wouldn't want this to get weird or anything.
You're too late.
Yeah, he just shoots a look. He just shoots a look at Angler, very reminiscent of the looks that you guys you have seen him make it at other varying times.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, brother.
And he just kind of shrugs that off a little bit, just like yeah.
And Hyperion goes ahead and sees them out then.
Yeah, so they go out to the front, or to the docking bay again, and you end up seeing little jets pop up out of Black Kestrel's boots, and of course, the similar rocket power that Angler has from Citizen Soldier, and they just fly off.
Hyperion walks back in and he looks at everyone. I'll be in the workshop fixing myself again.
You want some help?
If you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate it.
You gonna add interdimensional travel onto your to-do list?
I have much to do. Yes, but that is concerning. If he's able to successfully move things between dimensions, and he's already managed to send a person to ours, and he's done what he's done on his world, perhaps he would want to conquer more worlds.
That's what I was thinking.
We'll need to be on the lookout. I'll have more work to do after repairs. He heads to the workshop.
Okay.
Yeah, Sean will follow.
You think we need to open up a new spot on the team?
No, I don't think it'll be that bad. He probably has he'll probably be sticking with the protectors. Although you and I, we have a course to run.
Yeah. Let's get to it.
He will actually walk her through the course, even though it's been there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it goes throughout the vein.
Okay.
And then he'll run the course himself and wait for her to follow.
This is the flying course.
Yes.
Yeah.
So fly with your agility.
That's gonna be a 95.
94. Well, either 94 or 96. It's kind of on the 96.
Okay. So you go rocketing on down there and making the turns, no problem. I mean, you built it. It's been a while since you've done it, but it's like riding a bike. Lightbringer, however, from her grand entrance from earlier on, got a great morale boost. You push it. Your speed. Obviously, you're nowhere near as fast as Angler, but you at this point managed to take those turns and abrupt stops and maneuver your way down that little obstacle course without a problem. Feeling much better about your capability to fly now.
Right here. Boom!
Xenofreeze. Are you going to
Yes.
join everybody?
Yeah, I was just waiting.
Sure.
Um,
So the update on you is that you still have not been able to turn liquid. You are still solid.
Oh boy.
However, you have sensed that. Well, obviously, you were still having problems with your cold powers. In the month duration time frame, you have determined that they have greatly spiked.
Okay. Have I been able to control them any better?
Why don't you give me 3 rolls like you're rolling for a power stunt?
Okay. Get my dice out.
Now we're going to
Okay.
base this off of endurance.
Off of endurance?
Yes.
Okay. That is a 60,
Okay.
which I know is at least a green.
Oh yeah.
Actually, it's a yellow.
Okay.
82
Okay.
and 91.
Okay. So it's taking you some time over the span of this month to rein it in, but you have been able to do it successfully. You don't fully understand because you don't have the devices capable to register it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can sense that your cold generation, so your ability to generate cold, has greatly increased. And in fact, oops, rotate right, and one of the things you were able to measure
Mm-hmm.
is the intensity of the cold.
Okay.
Hold on one second. So you have been able to push the thermometer to at least in the vein to minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit with no problem.
Okay.
And the problem you're facing, because you don't have the tools to measure it, you don't know how cold it goes. You just know that you can get it to the point where you spike the thermometer and it goes nowhere.
Right. I'm obviously going lower than that, but
You probably are. Yeah. It just, again, you need the equipment to be able to register that, and you guys don't have it as of yet.
Okay. On a side note, neg 30's cold. I've worked in it outside in Wyoming.
Oh yeah.
It sucks. So wow, yeah, that's cold. Okay. It's just because we don't have a thermometer that goes that low, correct?
Correct.
Is what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay. Of all the stuff we have, we just don't have a thermometer that goes that low. All right.
I mean, you've got two really big brains, in the group. It's not a problem of, figuring that out. It's just nobody's
Right.
done it as of yet.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look at doing something that way, putting maybe something in the danger room to where I can. Do I have cold resistance myself, at least to my self-generated stuff?
Great question. Thus far, you seem to be immune to your own cold generation.
Oh, okay. So I mean theoretically, like I could put myself in a block of ice of my own making and be okay, but if somebody else did it, I don't know yet.
Correct.
Okay. So, because obviously, like if I was sending out a blast of cold,
Mhm.
yeah. All right. But I haven't been able to phase anymore.
Yeah, and in fact,
Interesting.
you know that the danger room here is not built to accommodate that.
To accommodate what?
You're cold right now.
Oh, my cold?
Mhm.
Only basic levels, probably just freezing or something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, Davy Jones. Absolute zero. Yeah.
Where's my super suit?
Let's see. We need a Kelvin thermometer. All right. Let's see. So I will. And then have I figured anything else out with because who else was affected? It was Sean. And
No, it was only you and Lightbringer.
Oh, it was only the two of us.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. So have I been able to figure out anything with her? Like being able to isolate anything?
She has
that
actually
way?
been gone for a good part of the month.
I had a bio sample of hers though, because I
that's
said I
true.
was running tests.
That's true.
Give me a reason check.
Okay. Oop. It was on 80 something. 81.
Okay. And your reason is what?
RM30.
Okay.
So
you are reasonably
yellow.
certain that the base level DNA has been altered.
Okay. Has mine also?
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, because you obviously have your samples and you know what you're looking at when you look at yours, the gene specific to your tie to Electrum is what was altered.
Okay.
So you're no longer a brother from another mother?
Oh.
Yeah, no, you still are.
Genetically speaking, we might test differently. Who knows?
So, wait, did you say that you had tested your own DNA also?
Yes.
Is it more human?
Yeah, is that
than it was before?
Great question.
Well, that was my Electrum gene. If the rest of my DNA wasn't altered, then I shouldn't be more human, I wouldn't think. I don't know.
Correct.
What would that
Whatever alteration happened, though, it is directly affecting your typical ability of remaining in a liquidious form.
Which is my
Right.
Salanth genetics. I haven't been able to isolate that though.
No.
Okay. I'm still looking for that then. I'll come out. I'm assuming I've been spending just this time in my ship, pretty much.
That or the lab, because you've been working on the nanotechnology.
Yeah. So any advancements there, minor if any, or
we'll get with you after the stream at this point for that.
okay.
Oh yeah, 2,000 experience points, karma points.
Karma.
2,000.
I corrected myself, sir.
Karma.
All right. So I'm just, it puts me at 3430, and then I'm putting it back into my 100 pool for the night and stuff. I'll do the math on that, but I should have just shy of, or just over 3,300, somewhere around there.
Okay.
In the bank. Anyway. So I come back into the vein then. And I'm
Wouldn't
like,
he have heard all the commotion?
Oh, he would have, yeah.
And then
what?
the rockets.
Red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing.
And the song Red Kingdom being blasted throughout Kansas City.
Yes.
I saw that. I was waiting for the perfect moment to say that.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely zero. Neg 450. That's 0 degrees Kelvin.
So, did you work
I
on
go back out, yeah.
He looks over at Lightbringer. Did anyone, do you know if anyone followed the regiments I left behind?
I
I think you said you worked with your grandfather, right?
did while I was gone. Yeah. So I don't know what everybody else did while I was gone.
I would come in probably about that time, I would assume.
Sure, that's fine.
I've been studying what has happened to us, Lightbringer. It seems the specific genetics that are our tie to Electrum have been specifically altered.
Yeah, that's what Jurgen's tech experts seem to find also. We spent some time in his lab. Hey, random question. What is the lifespan of your people?
I personally am approximately just over 600 Salanth years old. Our planet rotates much faster around our star in comparison to Earth's sun. But I'm approximately 44, going on 45 now. How old's my mom? I mean, like, how, is she old? Is it like, how old do we usually live?
You typically live to be like roughly 80 compared to humans.
Oh, okay. So the equivalency would be around the age of 80 on average. We do have ancients, but it's not very common. I'm interested to see what my genetic mix would do for me if I have a shorter lifespan or a longer one.
I think the odds are that it would be significantly lengthened.
It would be interesting to see.
I suppose we'll just have to observe. But when I spoke with my grandfather about this, he let it be known that he expects to live about 1,000 years based on his genetics, and he said he thinks that Electrum's genetics would have passed down a similar lifespan to me. So I would not be surprised if yours is altered similarly.
To live a millennia would be amazing and horrible in different aspects.
This is true.
Anyone who's not on your same genetic level will die long before you do. Loved ones. Sorry, I've been in my head for the last month. Fish do not make good philosophical conversations.
I would venture to think that if that is the case and it holds true, then we will be together for some time as our extended family.
Yeah.
Short of taking a laser gun to the head or something like that, yeah.
I've also realized with myself, though, I still am unable to shift.
Did you follow the regimen I set out for you?
I've been busy with other things, and I have been able to determine that my cold generation is significantly heightened.
Yeah, the regimen was meant to help you get that a little bit further under control.
I do have that under control. The fact that I cannot phase at all is alarming to me.
And this happened starting when?
When we were exposed.
So you think it's related to your genetic alteration?
I believe so, though I cannot find any. I'm quite familiar with my own genetics, and I cannot find anything, not as of yet. I am still running tests. If your grandfather had any insight to that, it would be very much appreciated as insight.
I can ask him to look into it. Would you be averse to their personnel having a sample of your DNA?
If they don't already.
I believe they do. I relinquished the uniform.
I was going to say because they were all up in your ship for a very long time. And you probably kept genetic samples of yourself. As a baseline?
There were things missing from my ship. Nothing of catastrophic, nothing of catastrophic loss. And I'm sure they have copied data, which is unfortunate and fortunate in different aspects, which is where I'm assuming they did get some of their newer technology or have expanded on it.
Could be. I can ask. We might as well do our own testing as well. in our discussion, it seemed that there were possibilities of perhaps manipulating the progression of that activated gene. I'd like to see, and maybe you can re-evolve to be able to do that again, or something similar. I don't know. It's still highly theoretical.
Yes.
Considering we don't know how exactly, as much as I hate the word, deviation occurs. He does have genetics, remember? The truth is that if the gene activates and then goes dormant, granting your first set of powers, abilities, super flight, whatever you happen to get out of it, and it's been reactivated, it stands to reason that more than likely there's going to be changes within your body. The reason I left you your specific goals when I left, it's more for you two than for Shion, is y'all are significantly more powerful than you used to be. Y'all have an amp on y'all's power. One of the things the Pearl did for me is I can amp up some of my powers with it. I won't be using it for a while. But if I wanted to, I could generate probably up to a building size worth of plasma.
Ooh.
If I were to amp up my powers. So what I was asking you guys to do is start small and work bigger. The outline that I left for you, Ixion, is to begin by targeting specific limbs on a target dummy. That way you could zero in your mind, picture something small.
I understand. I was trying to get it under control in its entirety at first. I will focus it now that I have a bit more control of it. Although my range is much colder now. I am bottoming out the thermometers we have here in the vein. I have reached -30 measured. And I am almost positive it only stands to reason that it is lower than that, though I am unsure because I do not feel the cold that I generate.
All right. Well.
But that is something that I wish to do.
We still have to practice, all of us. If nothing else in Argentina, it showed that we were ill-prepared. Me, I had my own flaws. I used something that was causing me damage, and when I had to use it several times, I ended up causing myself more harm than good. Shion accidentally killed a person. Yeah. That stress in your first time it happens is not a pleasant one. It's the reason why I wanted everyone to focus on minimizing the amount of attack that you can project. Then we can work on making it bigger. Your body, I think you said, is you're projecting more cold than normal. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you haven't been able to switch back to a liquid state?
Correct.
That's the reason why I wanted you to focus on the target dummy. It was a rough outline, but I understand where you're coming from. You want to be able to understand it from a scientific standpoint, and some things like breathing underwater, you just can't. You can't tell a seaman that, hey, you have gills, you can breathe underwater, and not expect them to have to learn how to do it. So all that's changed is your range. All you have to do is learn how to manipulate that range to be higher. And that, I apologize, I don't think you will ever learn just by studying it and underneath the microscope.
I'm gonna reach out and like touch his arm or
Okay.
whatever skin, just to see what temperature he feels like.
Oh, okay. I mean, he doesn't feel like normal human temperature.
Does
In
he
fact,
feel?
he has the consistency of a crash test dummy. So like plastic mannequin like.
Does he feel colder than usual?
Not that you're aware of, no.
Okay.
Hotter or warmer than room temperature? Or hotter or colder than room temperature?
Colder, but not by much.
What temperature is your liquid state?
The same as my solid state, whatever it happens to be at that time.
So it's not simply an issue with you maintaining too cold a temperature that you.
Not that I am aware of, no.
Hmm.
Do we have any inhibitor collars?
I don't think we do.
Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full.
We don't have any. I thought we had one.
Um,
I thought we had one in the vein.
That was Sagan.
Oh, that was Sagan, and she's not here anymore?
She's not here currently.
Be right back.
she's probably at my house.
Y'all might want to go down to the Hyperion. He might have been working on it while we were gone. I need to go and call Aegis.
I would be interested to see what would happen when I had the inhibitor bucket around me when I was captured by the Nazis. It kept me in my fluid state. I could not do much of anything. I am wondering what would happen if an inhibitor collar was put on me.
I'm
If I would
curious as well.
naturally go liquid at that point. Or what would happen. Because it canceled my powers, even though those are
Innate.
biologically innate. They should not be, and they are not part of my deviant genetics. It was odd.
The inhibitor collars attempts to negate, and this is my understanding of them, attempts to negate anything that is not Homo sapien. Your ability to shift form from a liquid to a more solid state is probably not human, and therefore the inhibitor collar will want to limit it.
I am aware of that, but I am not human at all. The deviant gene is significantly mutated from the human genome. And my Salanth genetics is nowhere close to Homo sapien.
That's the point I'm getting at, is it probably inhibited a lot of your recognizable abilities that you would have on your home planet, is what I'm saying. So instead of being able to switch from a solid to a liquid form, which is something you would normally be able to do, the inhibitor collar probably limits that because it sees it as a deviancy from human genetics.
Well, maybe
Interesting.
we
I've
can-
never had to design one. I don't know, but that's based off what I see. On heteromorphs, which are people who are kind of like myself, it wouldn't be able to shut down my lungs, my gills, to my knowledge, because they work on a biological level. But that's a biological level on this planet. So it wouldn't detect that as a deviancy from the norm, even if it could. And since it's all a part of my muscular system, it doesn't detect that that's a problem. But if I try to rock it away, if I try to throw plasma at them, it's going to stop that from happening. It will suppress that. Whenever they had me in inhibitor cuffs a few months ago, that's what it felt like.
maybe we can obtain a caller and see about testing that and or reverse engineering more.
I would go and talk to Hyperion. I think I remember him saying something about those, because we've been wanting to get our hands on a few of them so we can have them for our own missions.
Right. I think that
But-
would be prudent.
I do need to go and tell Aegis I'm back in the stateside and see if they don't have a magical powered person to assist me.
While you're there, could you have them reach out to the ambassador on that?
That was on the agenda since no one mentioned it over the last month.
Okay.
Although it was in our report that the what was going on with the genetic, I forgot what you called it, Jerome. The whatever was activating the deviant gene,
The ray, the field.
the field.
The meta activity field.
Mm-hmm.
That was in our report, so I will remind them that the senator's daughter was there, and there was more there, that maybe the ambassador's daughter was there, and there may be more who may have been activated. But yeah, y'all should go talk to the Hyperion, see what he has built up. A month is a long time for someone who doesn't sleep, and at most he has to plug into a wall socket. No disrespect to him. And he says this as he's walking off.
Okay.
Did y'all like breakfast?
It was good stuff.
And he will go to the phone and call Aegis.
And that is where we're going to stop it for tonight. So that's 2 hours, 45 minutes of game. So the just as a reminder, the next set of games we're going to have is on March 3rd and 4th. We have an event coming up next week that we're going to be supporting, so there will be no Blood Ties game next Saturday. So we hope to see you guys then soon. Thank you very much, Everlost, for tuning in and watching, and a first-time chat. So we will be running Vampire the Masquerade on March the 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And then we'll be playing this game again in 2 Saturdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, as well, as we pick back up and find out just what in the heck Legacy has stepped into.
What about Wednesday?
Oh, and Wednesday. Oh, good point. Yes. This coming Wednesday, we will have Cyberpunk, our second episode of that particular game. Looking forward to it. Getting everybody.
Yeah, with more Shelley.
Yep. Getting everything back under control, and hopefully we will have Shelley for that one. She had to dip out because she was feeling bad. So look forward to seeing you all there. We'll have the episodes uploaded soon to YouTube. And thanks for tuning in. Good night, guys.
Good night.